Hey, how's it going? This is the Counterpoint and Consensus Cast. I'm Shiflo, joined today by Sultana Swing 80. How's it going, man?
It's going great after a Bills Mafia win. That was awesome.
Bills Mafia win. Yeah, we had a pretty good record in our first video. If you want to check that out, I think my picks went 3-0 and yours went 4-1.
Went 4-1. Yep.
Yeah, so pretty good night there. We had a pretty good day of college football. Obviously, we don't touch on that too much in this show.
Yeah, we're
Um,
not gonna we're not gonna tell you later. We might later because it's a time thing.
it's
But
tough, yeah. But
we had a
anyway,
good day today.
This week we're going to be talking about Week 1 NFL. Obviously, we already had our Thursday night kickoff between the Bills Rams. Bills taking that 31-10. But yeah, great slate of games to set up the NFL season. Super excited. First game we're going to be going over today is the Cleveland Browns versus the Carolina Panthers. I have to admit I am going to be incredibly biased, so I'm actually not touching this game. I'm a Browns fan.
Hey, you're
So,
smart.
yeah, Sultan, you got any picks for this game? Any sauce?
I do, and I appreciate the honesty on being the Browns fan and having the control. We will talk about Raiders later, and I will not have the control. So you'll have to we'll have to censor and filter me a bit.
Okay.
So I have some good old prop bets for us. The spread here and in the money line, I'm not interested in touching because this game is going to be back and forth. I think. I don't know. I don't know if the Browns' offense is going to be any good, and I have no idea if the Panthers' offense is going to be any good. I think both teams have the capability to score and move the ball, but I do have some prop bets that I think are going to be pretty set.
Hmm.
Um, if you go to, I want to say it's game props or specials, one of the two.
Okay.
It will say Cleveland doesn't score on the first drive. I know we talked about these, okay, and I got burned on my first one with the Bills. But
Right.
I'm not saying just the Browns. I also have Carolina not scoring on their first drive.
Right.
These two, taking consideration, this is the only bet I lost on Thursday night. So if you want to dodge them, for sure. But I'm thinking about who the quarterbacks are, and I love me some Baker Mayfield, I do. But like it's one of those things where like I don't think they score right away. Um, Segueing into that, the third prop bet is any team to score 40 plus points, and that's a pretty hot and easy no. I don't think the Browns or the Panthers are capable of scoring 40 points. And then both teams to score over 24.5. I have that as no as well. So I think this is going to be like a 24-21, 24-17 score. I think one of the two teams will struggle offensively, and that's going to be what wins the game, not the close game that we saw. Well, we thought it was going to be close with the Rams and the Bills, but you
Well,
you get what I'm saying.
well,
And then
to kind of take that away from you,
Mhm.
with the kind of the storyline between the Browns and Panthers is the Browns have to figure out their offensive identity with Jacoby Brissett, but they're stacked on defense.
Yep.
Um, the Panthers, they have a new starting quarterback in Baker Mayfield. They're looking on an upward trend. Not sure if they've figured themselves out yet. We'll see tomorrow. But their defense has never been known to be an elite defense. So yeah, I definitely agree. It will be an offensive struggle. So I might 42 is a low over under. I might touch that though. I might hit the under
Mhm.
42.
I see that. The only player prop I have is good old Kareem Hunt to have a minimum of 32 yards rushing, which I think is kind of low for what I expect Cleveland to do in this game. When you have the new quarterback position and everything, I'm thinking from an offensive coordinator point of view, we're not going to throw the whole game on the quarterback to make these throws.
Right.
I think let's get the backs involved, and get them involved early. And while Kareem Hunt is the red zone back, I still think they're going to be in the red zone enough for him to get 32 yards. I think that's a reasonable amount, and I think the odds are pretty good on that too. I'll have to look, and I will double check that for you. Yeah, rushing yards, Cleveland Browns. Never mind, the spread has moved. Oh no, it's still real. It's still okay. So 32 for minus 113.
Okay. Well, not too
So
bad.
that's not terrible. There is a lower one that's 22 and it's minus 700, which is not worth your time. So I think the 32 is reasonable there. I'm excited to see this game because both of these teams had very interesting off seasons, and I have no idea what kind of team I'm going to see
Right.
um, come out there. And that's why I have all these bets basically saying both teams are not going to look great offensively because I have this vision that it's going to take a while for them to build chemistry, get into a rhythm, and that's my thing. I'm not saying they're going to be bad mid-season, but I think game one they gotta work out the kinks.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. That's why I obviously didn't want to touch the game. But yeah, moving on, our second game of the day is going to be the Saints versus Falcons. Obviously, just a little bit of background going into this game. The Saints have Jameis Winston back, looking for him to be the guy that they signed him to be. They bolstered on defense a little bit over the offseason. As the Falcons, definitely going to be struggling a little bit. They have their new quarterback, Marcus Mariota, who's a fantastic backup quarterback, but it's gonna be dependent on what he can do as the starter.
I agree.
The odds, the spread here, the Saints are 5.5-point favorites. I think me personally, I would take the Saints minus 5.5. I don't think that the Falcons will have it figured it out yet.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. My picks are Saints money line to start. I want to see how Alvin Kamara plays. Um, I thought he was suspended, but I guess they came to an agreement because there's wages and everything on him.
That's pending. It won't happen until
It's
later.
pending.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So he is available for the first game, which I think is what seals the deal on the Saints winning.
Yep.
The one prop bet that I looked at that I'm still trying to find an exact. I think it'll be available closer um to kickoff, but I was looking at Jameis Winston to have like the longest pass of the game because all I remember from watching the Saints last year is Alvin Kamara running the ball and Jameis Winston throwing a bomb on like 2nd and 8. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they just that deep passing game. I see that coming right back to it and then them attacking that. And I can't even name a Falcons corner right now. Not saying they're bad, obviously, but it's more of just like I can't think of anything that would prevent them from being able to do that. So maybe look into that. I'm gonna see if I can find it, but you gotta usually gotta wait till the day before, and it is the day before, so I'm hoping I can find um
Yeah. A little bit of
something
a
on it.
of a of a lower effort cast today. Unfortunately, just we've both been incredibly busy. It's currently where I am past midnight when we're recording this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I had a gig an hour away. I had to go play, and then and then college football. We had to sit down and talk about college football. We didn't record it, but like we
yeah,
we obviously had to put time into that.
that's right.
So a lot of this is just once we see how these teams play after week one, I'll be able to go through and be like, okay, I have prior knowledge of this team because this week one stuff is like, well, I watched their preseason game, but that doesn't tell me everything I need to know, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Jameis, if you can get a prop bet on Jameis Winston to throw a pass over 30 yards, I think that's a steal. But you're safe with Saints money line. I think the Falcons are rebuilding. They're openly rebuilding. It's one of those years where if they win 4 games, great. But that if you're a Falcons fan, hang in there. They're gonna draft some people, and we'll get started on it.
Okay. Yeah. So moving on, we have the 49ers versus Bears. So I'm
Another
actually
good
gonna
one.
I'm actually gonna get your opinion on this first. I have a couple of saucy picks I think that might be a little unexpected, but go ahead.
Let me find it. 49ers Bears. 49ers Bears. I have my notes out here on the side. Okay, here we go. All right, so you got two. I'm not going to call them rookie quarterbacks because they're not. But you got two very young quarterbacks. You got Justin Fields returning, and what's his name? It's left me. The San Francisco quarterback,
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. Yeah. So you got two guys very similar play style. I mean, they're mobile quarterbacks. They're working on getting some chemistry going. So this is kind of the more we're going to get to a routine where I talk about the no score on the first drive. Gas he
Go
wants to
for it.
stay away from it,
Yeah, I'm
so
not
we,
touching
we
that.
won't mention it. I'm taking Chicago doesn't score on their first drive. I think that's a lock. I don't see them doing that. San Francisco has a really deep roster, and while I feel like San Francisco is one of the best overall teams in the league. And they're in a division that is not very competitive at the moment. You got the Cardinals, but the Seahawks are, that's two wins guaranteed essentially for the 49ers this season. The prop bet that I think you can get some money on though is for San Francisco to have more first downs than Chicago. The reason I say that is because Chicago is probably going to want to lay on the run game, and not as much as I think San Francisco can. I think San Francisco can move the ball way more efficiently. So the prop bet is San Francisco has more first downs, and I will check the odds on that real quick. I remember them being really good when I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find it.
Yeah.
Most first downs, yeah, San Francisco. It's only minus 244, which is not terrible.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, my picks here. I think that the 49ers are they're gonna be really, really slow coming into this game.
Okay.
Obviously playing with a quarterback that didn't really play too much last year. George Kittle is, supposedly one of the number one targets in that offense. He's questionable. I'm not sure at the time of recording whether or not he's going to play. But he's coming off of a groin injury. I'm taking the Bears plus 6.5 and doing a half unit bet on them to win money line.
Upset. Okay.
Yeah, looking at the upset here. Yeah. Now tomorrow, I might look like the biggest buffoon, but that's
hey, you gotta
yeah.
take this.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling right now. Moving forward, we got a really, really good matchup here. New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, I love this. I love this game.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go?
I'll let you
ahead?
go first.
Okay.
I can go. Yeah, you go first. You go first.
Right. So, I'm taking Miami Dolphins minus 3.5. I think that the Patriots, they're in kind of a state of disarray. Obviously, it's tough to bet against Bill Belichick, right? Because he's always been the coach to figure it out. But I think that the Dolphins have been acquiring a lot of great players in the offseason. And from what I've seen, the videos from training camp, all that good stuff, they look pretty good. Patriots, not so much. Obviously, losing their offensive coordinator to the Raiders is another big factor in this game, I think. But, yeah, I'm taking Dolphins minus 3.5. I'm also taking the under 46.5.
I like that too. Gonna segue off of that. I have Miami money line.
Okay.
And I think I see the appeal. Mac Jones has gotten better, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think he has any weapon right now to compete against what Miami's doing? No, I don't. It's going to be if this game is low scoring and it comes to a coaching battle, then that's why I'm concerned because Belichick's, a master of chess in that area. But I don't think that's the case. I think Miami has enough firepower to just score to where it won't even matter.
Yep.
So I have Miami money line. No team scored 40+ points. I think that's a safe bet. And this is stuff I'm going to throw in parlays later, where it's like I have two good odds and then I just need a third leg to make it a little reasonable. I think that's a safe one. And then I also have New England doesn't score on the first drive. We want to stay away from those as well. And then another one to look at is both teams score over 24.5, and I'm going to hit no.
Okay.
Because I look at that and I'm like, Miami can score over 24. I don't believe the Patriots can because their offense is set up to run the ball. They're still trying to trust Mac Jones with deeper throws. A lot of the stuff he's throwing is mid-range passes. So I don't see them moving the ball efficiently or fast, and we're on a timer. I don't think Miami can. I have no doubt that Tua and them can score over 24.5, but I don't think the Patriots can.
Very good. Moving on ahead. Next game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus Detroit Lions. The spread is 5.5 favoring the Eagles. Got an over-under 48.5. So, okay, here's my take on the game. The spread is only 5.5. I know in the NFL that can be a lot of points, but I think that people are really high on the Detroit Lions just because of the hard knocks that the NFL films did. Everybody wants the Lions to win, and I'm one of those people. I like the Lions. I like the coach. I like the roster. Eagles, I think, are just going to dominate this game. Detroit's just going to have another underwhelming week one, unfortunately. But, yeah, I'm taking Philadelphia Eagles minus 5.5, not touching the over-under.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting. So I may be a victim of the Hard Knocks video
Yeah.
because I have Lions covering 4.
Okay.
Now that line's moved to 5 now. It was 4 a couple of days ago, so now it's what 5? You said five
Five,
and a
five and a
half.
half. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Lions are better this year. I mean, I do think they are better. I think you look at their schedule last year, and they lost almost every single game by 1 score. And that was kind of what built the storyline of
Yep.
this. Like they weren't terrible, but they could not win games. Um, the Eagles are great. The Eagles are good. The Eagles are going to win this game. I just think the Lions keep it close.
Okay.
I will say I do have concerns with the Eagles' running game. I think it's Miles Sanders. He's coming off that injury, and I think he's questionable for the game. I'm not
Okay.
sure if he's been cleared or not. So they're losing one guy. Didn't they? Is Jalen Rager gone? He's gone, right?
Yeah, he got traded to
He's at
the
the Vikings now,
Vikings.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they lose another receiver, which you could argue how effective he was, but still, I mean, it's what I thought was a pretty good wide receiver for him. Um, I still think the Eagles come out; they're the better team, but I think the Lions keep it close. So I'm going to do cover 5.5 now, not 4.
Yeah, look at that. I think that's our first counterpoint of the season. So
Exactly.
how
Yeah, there
about
we
that?
go.
How about
Yeah.
that? Okay. Unless you have anything else on that one, moving
Now we can
on.
move on.
Steelers Bengals. I'm not touching.
All right, this is a go.
I'm
I
not gonna
have
touch it. I can't.
have a lot. I have
Okay,
a lot on this one.
go for it.
Okay, so T.J. Watt got hurt on the last play of Pittsburgh's last preseason game
Okay.
on a silly tackle. It was ridiculous. It may not have been the last play, but he got hurt. And I don't know if he's starting on this game. I got to check because he might have been cleared.
I'm pretty sure he's good to.
Is he good to go?
Let's see. He did. He was listed as a limited participant whenever they practiced on Wednesday. But I do believe, yeah, he's good to go. He's going to be.
Oh, he's good to
starting.
go. Okay, all right. Well, I think the article I read 4 days when I made this, T.J. Watt was like they didn't know the level of the injury.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I still think he's not 100%.
Okay.
I mean, he's banged up from that tackle. I mean, if you're limited practicing, limited practicing time, something needs to heal. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he won't still perform, but I say this because Joe Mixon has some pretty good odds for 60 yards rushing.
Okay. Yeah, I can see
And
that
I think
happening.
I can see just 60, and I think is pretty good. And then on the other side of the ball, Najee Harris getting 49. I look at Mitch Trubisky, and I'm like, you mean to tell me the back's not going to get 50 yards when you have Mitch? You know, I'm not saying Mitch is bad, but it's more of like I would want Najee to get as many carries as he can
Mm-hmm.
for the Steelers there.
Yeah, actually, I think I will agree with you there, and I'm going to go ahead and take that Najee Harris over 49.5. I think that's a really
think
good
49
bet.
is wild. Like, come on. I have no team to score over 40 here, which we've talked about that. I think that's just a safe. Like it's one of those like, will there be overtime bets where like the odds are like ridiculous? But
Mm-hmm.
I look at it and I'm like, I could parlay that,
Yeah.
and it would just help me make a parlay. And then one I'm pretty confident on, Cincinnati to have the most first downs. I think Cincinnati wins the game. However, I don't like the odds. So I think another way you could say Cincinnati, because a lot of times, there might be a turnover or two
Yep.
that decides the game, but that doesn't mean Cincinnati didn't have the more efficient offense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a safe one you could look at. I could check and see what it is. It was good last time I looked at it. Let's go to game markets. I like this new system on my bookie though. It is easier to operate than in the past. I'll tell you what it is. So Cincinnati's most first downs is minus 182, which I think is pretty good. And the odds on these rush bets could have changed too. I'm going to check those as well, just real quick here. Yeah, so Joe, it's moved. Okay, so Joe Mixon's now at 62 instead of 60. That's still pretty close. I may not take that one now. And then the Najee Harris one has moved down to 48.
Okay.
and the odds are not good on it anymore. It's minus 401.
Yeah, you can probably buy a prop though, so I'll
Yeah,
probably
and
end up
get
doing that.
okay. I like that, but I think those two things should definitely happen in that game.
Okay. Well, moving on, we have the next game up is the Colts versus Texans. Colts
Yeah.
are 7-point favorites over under 45 and a half. Um, you know, I like the Texans team. They're not going to be good. I have
Yeah.
Colts -7 here.
I have Colts money line. Just because I just spreads scare me at this
That's
point.
fair. Yeah.
Um, the Colts have the superior run game. It's a superior offense and defensive line. Jonathan Taylor is coming. He's what, 24 now? I want to say he's 24,
Something like that.
and this is the peak of Jonathan Taylor. This
Yep.
season right here is going to be the best year he
It's
has.
going to be
He's gonna
saucy.
just he's gonna run all over the Texans. Um, that being said, I'm not saying the Texans won't score, but I'm pretty confident on them not scoring early. Okay, so we got
Oh my
another don't
god.
score on the first drive. This one I am hitting because it's minus 239, and that's really good for a don't score on the first drive.
Okay.
Usually it's worse than that. No team scores over 40. That's a given. Both teams score over 24.5. I keep doing this one. No, the Texans are not going to score 24.5 points
Yep.
with poor, is it Davis Mills or David Mills?
Davis Mills.
Davis. I don't Poor Davis Mills.
Yeah.
He's gonna get killed. He's gonna drop back. I see him getting sacked 3 or 4 times. We'll see. And then another common one. Indy has the most first downs.
Okay.
So I basically, I'm banking on the Colts to have a better offense, which I think they do. The Colts to win, and the Texans to underperform offensively, which I think is pretty reasonable.
I will say I'm going to backtrack. I will be taking Colts minus half a point to win the first quarter. The
Oh,
spread,
yeah.
yeah. The odds are it's like -116. So
Oh, that's so good.
yeah, it's pretty good for that kind of
I'm gonna
bet.
take that right now with you.
Yeah, yeah. So
On
I'm
that.
gonna go ahead and lock that one in. So yeah, moving on. We have Ravens versus Jets. The spread is only 6.5 points. Pretty sure Jets are starting Joe Flacco. Uh,
I love
I'm
Joe Flacco, but
putting
this is not the
yeah. No, it's not against his whole team, no less. I'm gonna be taking Ravens -6.5 with
good.
with no regrets. In fact,
completely agree with you.
I might buy some points and see if I can get some good odds. We'll see. Any other props on this one that you took?
Ravens win for sure.
Sure.
And then I'm so confident that the Jets will be miserable
Mm-hmm.
that I have Jets don't score on the first drive. No team scores 40. Both teams to score over 24.5. No, I don't think the
Mm-hmm.
Jets are capable. I love Joe Flacco, but you have to think this is out of Joe Flacco's prime, and he left the Ravens on good terms.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there wasn't bad blood like there's going to be in the Carolina and the Cleveland game. So this is more of like it's kind of like if they traded Ben Roethlisberger and then Ben Roethlisberger played with his whatever team back in Pittsburgh. He'd be welcomed back. It's not a like, boo, you're not blah blah blah. It's more of like, hey, old friend, I hope we don't kill you. That kind of thing.
But they're gonna kill
So
him.
no, I mean they are, but at the same time, it's one of those was like I'm not looking for Joe Flacco to come out with a chip on his shoulder. This is going to be a pretty solid win by the Ravens.
Yep.
And I don't think the Jets score over 24 points.
I agree with you there. Kind of to move on, just for the sake of time.
Yeah.
We've got Jaguars versus Commanders. Jaguars are 3-point underdogs, over under 44 points.
I
I'm
don't
not going
like
to
that.
touch that. I'm gonna take Jags +3 and half a unit bet on. Actually, no, I'm gonna take a full unit bet on them to upset. I feel like I'm pretty high on the Jaguars. I don't feel like the Commanders are gonna have all their stuff figured out. Obviously preseason isn't a huge indicator, but the Jags, when they played their starters in preseason,
They looked better.
They looked way better
They
than
moved the
last
ball.
season. They have a competent head coach. That's another huge deal, I think. So
Yeah,
definitely
Urban
taking the
Meyer.
Jags on this.
I completely agree. Every now and then, you go through the games and you got to have one underdog bet that you're really like, you kind of grin and smirk. You're like, please Come
Yeah,
on. And
absolutely.
Jacksonville's that team. I look at the Commanders and I go, what do they have going for them? And out of all the variables, Carson Wentz is not on that list of things that they have going for them. That defense looks good. They do, but the Jags look better.
Yeah,
So I might look into first drive punts for both teams, maybe,
I hate that
but
bet
I'm
so
I'm gonna
much.
take I'm gonna take Jags to cover 3 for sure.
All right,
I know
very
you
good.
hate that bet, but I'm just like, Commanders have a good defense,
Yeah,
and
I'm
the
with you.
Commanders have a bad offense. So either way, I feel like first drive punt.
With you.
We'll see.
All right, moving forward, we got Kansas City Chiefs versus Arizona Cardinals. Kansas City Chiefs favored by 6.5 points. A pretty high over under of 53.5 points.
A lot.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess both teams are kind of known for their electric offenses. Both teams have just absolute hosses starting at quarterback and Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray. Um, I believe I'm going to take Arizona Cardinals plus 6.5. I don't think that they upset. I
You just
think
think they
that
keep it close.
I think they might keep it close, and I'm not super confident on that, but I'm definitely going to just put a unit on it, see what happens, let it fly. What
I
you got?
like that. Let it fly. I got KC wins. I need to see Arizona's offense. I know there was locker room issues during the offseason and that whole issue with the Instagram drama, all that stuff. I don't know how I felt about it. I'm just like, So that being said, I look at Kansas City and I'm like, okay, they're a Super Bowl contender. We don't have to argue that they're not a Super Bowl contender. Who did they add? Added Juju. They added one of the best Steelers wide receivers to the core for Patrick to throw to. Like Mahomes has got so many options. I know he dances. I know he
I
dances. He's an athlete. Okay.
I mean, you lose Tyreek Hill and you gain Juju Smith. I
Yeah,
don't.
it's not the same, but like, it's one of those things where I'm like, Juju will be if
Definitely,
Juju can run a slant.
definitely a different kind of wide receiver. Yeah, you're right. But
Sure.
you're forgetting one key factor in this game, and
Mm.
that is that Kyler Murray is a special little man. All right,
Dude,
he'll get the job
he's
done.
Johnny Manziel, but just shorter. You know what I
And
mean? Like he makes plays happen.
not an absolute maniac off the field,
Yeah,
unless he's in a
yeah.
COD
Well, I
Madden.
mean, unless it's Call of Duty, unless
Yeah.
it's double XP weekend.
All right.
I deep personally, I want Arizona to win this game because
Yeah.
I am a Raiders fan. But I look at it and I'm like, Kansas City wins. I hope the Cardinals keep it close. I don't like any of the prop bets on this,
Mhm.
because it's such an offensively banked game, and I don't feel confident fading the Kansas City or the Arizona offense to not produce.
Yep.
So I just think if you're gonna hang anything, uh, KC wins, but Cardinals cover.
Very good. Moving on, we have Giants Titans. Giants 5.5 point underdogs, playing
Mm.
at Tennessee. I'm pretty sure. Over under is 44. I don't know what either offense is going to look like. You look at the Giants. They should be
They look
improved.
better.
Yeah, they should be
Saquon's
improved.
back,
Saquon's
for
back.
hopefully more than 3 weeks.
Unfortunately, on the defensive side of the ball, their super high prospect Kayvon Thibodeau is most likely not going to be playing. He's still nursing an injury. I I think I'm going to stay away from this. Titans. This feels like a game that they could blow, but they should win. So
Yeah, they should.
I too many variables for me. I don't want to touch it.
Well, I got some news for you. I got some stuff to touch
Go for
for
it.
this game. If you want to take a winner here, you take moneyline Titans. Um, if the Giants come out and win this game, that'll be like a culture victory for that team because the Giants have been so bad. Um, but I think the Titans clean up. What I'm looking at is passing yards for Ryan Tannehill because who did he lose? His entire he lost wide receiver one because Amari Cooper left.
That's
Not
that's
Amari Cooper, sorry,
Dallas.
Julio Jones, the other Alabama
So
guy,
so Julio Jones left. They lost AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. So they
Uh,
lose their wide receiver 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure those are their wide receiver 1 and 2.
I guess.
So they got some young wide receiver cores now, okay. And I'm not saying that those guys aren't going to be good. I'm saying I would if I have Derrick Henry in the backfield and I have a younger core, I'm gonna run the ball, especially on a Giants defensive front seven that is, nothing to. They're not great.
Yeah,
I don't. When I think Giants, I think Danny Dimes scrambles for 80 yards. I don't think of any
and then
defensive
gets
play.
a concussion or trips.
And then gets to go rip, rip. I love that. I hope he succeeds. But in
Yeah,
terms of tomorrow, I'm looking at Ryan Tannehill to have under 218 yards. That being said, the reason I think he has under 218 is because I don't think they need to throw for 218 yards to win this game.
right.
I think they get up to an early lead and then they coast. And Tannehill probably throws for a 150 to 185 with an interception or two in there because he finds a way.
I'm with you.
But yeah, I think under for pass yards.
Seems good. I'm not going to touch it.
I gotcha.
Moving on. My personal favorite game this week, Packers Vikings.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah. Spread is 1 point in favor of the Packers. It's going to be in Minnesota. I obviously they're not really underdogs. It's pretty much dead even. But I am going to be taking the Vikings to win. Just money line. I'll also take +1, but
I'm right here with you. So I look at this and I go, the Packers are favored. Why? And I can't formulate a sentence that answers that because I think the Packers lost Devontae Adams, lost their best wide receiver. Who did the Vikings gain? They added a bunch of pieces. They got Jalen Reagor. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Rieger. I hope so. They added another wide receiver. Kirk Cousins looks better. They got Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook's healthy. It's a home game. It's at Viking. It's in Minnesota. And if you guys remember the first game Aaron Rodgers played back last season against the Saints, he didn't play well in his opening game.
mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's a trend that continues, but it concerns me. Now the Packers figured it out later to a disappointing playoff loss, but I think the Vikings are out for blood. This is their year. This is the year Kirk Cousins, I think, proves he's in the conversation to be called elite. Because he's been kind of underwhelming. But look for Vikings money line. I would probably take the over on whatever Kirk Cousins is for completions. Like find the minimum, like we did with Josh Allen.
So I'm actually going to disagree with you there because the Green Bay doesn't really have any injuries on defense to note, and they have like the best corner core in the league, in my opinion. So be careful with that. I do think that the Vikings win, but completions I'm not 100% on.
I gotcha. Let me go through and just see what it is so I can tell you what number.
I will say I will be hitting the under 46.5 because I think that it will be a somewhat defensive game.
I think that's pretty safe.
Yep.
Where's this pass completions? Okay, I'm going to look at it. I just want to talk about it a little bit more.
Okay.
23 for Kirk Cousins.
Okay, that's a lot lower than I thought it'd be. That might be worth hitting then.
I see him getting like 36. I mean, this is going to be the game everyone wants to watch. I think it's a gunslinging game. But I think 23 is pretty reasonable. I mean, he could probably throw 25, 26. And I don't have his what I want to do whenever I make this bet is have his season average last year. And then have the wins and loss like we did with Josh Allen that I didn't have time to.
Yeah.
So this is just a gut feeling.
A future us thing.
Aaron Rodgers has only 21 on his.
Well, who's he throwing it to? I'm pretty sure one of the returning wide receivers, Allen
he's
Lazard,
questionable. Yeah, he's questionable.
I think he's out. He's doubtful.
Oh, he's out. Well, he's on the bench on my fantasy team because I read that article and I was like, great.
There you go. All right.
So,
moving
is it
forward,
one more game?
Yeah. Well, 2 more games.
Two more.
Moving forward to your game of the week, I assume we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the LA Chargers. It is in LA. But it's basically a home game for the Raiders.
Is it a home game? Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Raiders are 3.5-point underdogs, over under 52. Who are you taking?
Give me a second. All right, so I am a Raiders fan. So take the game winner bets lightly. The Raiders should win this game. That is my biased opinion, obviously. Here's the bets that I'm going to give you that I think you should seriously consider.
Okay.
Because the odds on the Raiders to win are great because it's just juicy underdog odds. Here's what's going to happen. The Raiders are going to score over 2.5 touchdowns. I looked at that. You can bet on how many touchdowns are made. And for the Raiders charter, I'm going to double check to make sure the odds are still good. No, that's not what I want. I want game specials. Man, navigating this in live time is not easy. Where is it? Here we go. All right, so if you click on game props, it has Las Vegas Raiders total touchdowns 2.5 over 2.5, and you get that for -152. I mean, I look at a revamped offense with a better offensive coordinator, no locker room drama as of yet, and you're telling me with Devontae Adams added and a healthy Josh Jacobs, this team is not capable of scoring 21 points on the Chargers. And I'm looking at the last time they played, which was an absolute shootout. So I genuinely think they can easily score 3 touchdowns in this game.
Okay. Cool.
So that one for sure. Both teams score over 19.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty. This is going to be a high-scoring game, of the upwards of the higher 20s, mid 30s. And then the juicy one that we all like to see is Raiders win between 1 and 14 points. So if you're all in like I am with the Raiders, there's a bet where you can pick by how much they win by, and between 1 and 14 was fantastic. I'm going to go through and find that one. Oh no, that one's in the it's not in the game prop. It's in the normal. So let me find that one real quick. But I remember scrolling down and I was like, oh, that's great. So let's find it. There's 304 prop bets for this game, which tells you how many people are going to watch it. Let's find it.
It is going to be a really good game in my opinion.
I'm excited. It's going to set the tone.
I want the Raiders to win, but I'm not going to make any picks for this game just because I just want to watch and enjoy it.
Okay, so it's moved a bit. They split the 1 through 14 into 2 now, and they're great for both. So Las Vegas wins by 1 to 7 points is at plus 281.
Okay.
And then Las Vegas wins by 8 to 14 is at plus 647.
Yeah, that's.
But I understand why it's that. I don't think the Raiders win by more than a touchdown. So the 1 to 7 bet is probably what I will look at taking. And that's the one I'll seriously consider. One thing I remember from last season was our incredible kicker and his consistency. I'm not sure about this Raiders offense in the red zone. That was our kryptonite last year. We could get down the field, but then we would get within the 15, and we just couldn't get it in there. So if you're going to watch the game, look at a live bet. I would feel pretty comfortable taking, like, if you can, take like more field goal, like an over for field goals in the second half.
Right, so looking for a lot of field goals. Okay.
Yeah, I would assume because once the schemes have been shown in the first quarter and second quarter, I think the halftime adjustments, like they still drive down the field, but they run out of steam, and then you're going to see a lot of field goals.
Interesting take. Okay, well, moving on to our final game of tomorrow, we're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing off in Dallas versus the Dallas Cowboys. Buccaneers favored by 2.5 points. I think this is going to be another. It's a smaller upset, but I think that Dallas can cover 2.5 points, and I'm actually going to be placing a unit on them to win, just money line, because I don't learn my lesson when I bet against Tom Brady.
Hey, I feel that. I went a little bit of a different direction.
Sure.
I'm not touching money line or spread because it's one of those things where I look at Tom Brady and I'm like, wow, you're the best player in football, but there's a timer there. Now he's already like 4 years past the timer where I'm like, bro, you should be done, but he's not. So it's kind of like my whole viewpoint on Alabama, where I'm like, I'm waiting on Saban to call it quits. But until that day happens, until I witness the day Tom Brady doesn't have an MVP season, then I'm not going to bet against him.
Yep.
So the one bet I do have for it is Tampa Bay has the most first downs.
Okay. Interesting.
The reason I have that is because I feel like Tampa Bay's offensive style is going to be long drives. You know, Tom Brady's going to tear apart the defense slowly. They're going to get involved with the run game. They don't have Chris Godwin, or he might start. We don't know. But that's like the deep threat that you have. You did add Julio Jones, but it's an older Julio Jones, so I don't think you're going to get many one-on-ones with him. So I think for the first couple of weeks until Chris Godwin's back in, Brady's going to be throwing shorter passes. Extends the drive, they get the first downs, but I think looking at how Dallas has the capability to have some deep bomb throws in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm banking on Tampa Bay to score, but take their time doing it and having more first downs.
Very good. All right. Well, that only leaves us with Monday Night Football. That will be a completely separate video.
Gotcha.
So yeah, thanks for watching. Obviously, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Still working on the social media stuff. That'll be up later. And again, this is not the permanent format of the show. Again, it's just been a crazy busy week.
And we're just trying to figure out what we want to do, how we want to present it.
Yeah.
And it does not help that we had a busy week and then we have 15 games. And it's, what is it? It's 1 a.m. for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's past 1
Yeah.
a.m. So yeah,
It's
again, I hope you enjoy. We will see you for Monday Night Football. Peace out.